I'm Matt Gross, the Frugal Traveler for the New York Times. This summer, I'm embarking on the grand tour of Europe. Over 12 weeks, I'll seek out ancient history and contemporary culture. I'll find cool hotels and eat memorable meals. And I'll stretch the US dollar to the breaking point. Who doesn't dream of summer in Malta? Kicking back at Hondok, drinking a kinney, and hitting up the local festa. It's the ultimate vacation. Okay, I know. You might have heard of Malta, this tiny island nation that's a member of the European Union, but you probably don't actually know anything about it. So, here we go. 5,000 years of Maltese history in 5 minutes. We begin not on Malta, but on its even smaller sister island, Gozo, a dry, rugged land in the Mediterranean, south of Sicily and east of Tunisia, dotted with windmills, churches, wild fennel plants, and caper bushes. It was here on Gozo, at the Ggantija Temples, that we have our first records of Maltese civilization.
They are the oldest standing temples in the world.
The oldest in the world?
Yeah.
How old is that?
They are between 1500 and 3000 BC. At the beginning they came the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians, we are saying before Christ. Then the Romans, we were under the British, under the Arabs.
Pretty soon, everyone wanted to run Malta. It was the key to controlling much of the Mediterranean. To see how the Romans ran Malta, I had to catch a ferry to Malta proper. Then hop on my rented moped to the town of Mdina. Just outside the city walls was the Domus Romana, a museum devoted to an archaeological dig that uncovered an old Roman house. The treasures they found here were quite impressive. Statues, parts of statues, and these amazing mosaic floors.
Say to yourself that the squares are cubes. The squares gain depth, enhancing the effect. Yellow parts and red parts with the white spots, cones or pyramids pointing this way.
Sometime after the 7th century, Roman Malta became Arab Malta, and the Domus wound up as a Muslim cemetery. Arabic became the lingua franca, eventually evolving into modern-day Maltese. With its courtyards and narrow alleys, Mdina itself reminded me of a lot of North African cities, where all the most intriguing things are hidden behind elaborate door knockers and high, high walls. This was all we were going to see of this garden. These days, Mdina isn't very Muslim. Like all Maltese villages, it centers on a big Catholic church. If you can't tell the time on these clocks, don't worry. They're specifically designed to confuse even the devil himself. Malta's capital city, Valletta, can be pretty confusing too. Built in the 16th century by the Knights of St. John, a monastic order of crusaders, Valletta is a fortified grid set on a hilly peninsula. It was the most serious defense against anyone who wanted to invade Malta. The Knights were hardcore Catholics, and even today Malta takes religion very, very seriously. Virtually every church, no matter how small, has a festa, or festival, every year. This church, the Church of St. Mary, was quite nice inside, but I guess I'm too easily impressed.
This is nothing, this church.
This is
It's a peanut near the churches. You don't start it.
Fine with me. I'm not much of a churchgoer anyway. I went elsewhere.
We're in Straight Street in Valletta. There used to be lots of bars around here in the past, and now they're only, well, falling to pieces basically.
Yes, from the 1940s to 1979, Straight Street was where all the British and American sailors used to come for a drink, a dance, and a good time. With some help from an old-timer, Martin and I got directions to the Metro Bar, where an important part of V by Thomas Pynchon takes place.
Let's go. It's there.
Not the most exciting bar I've ever seen, but I guess we were about 30 years too late for the action.
But now it's too quiet here, too quiet. If you come at Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, you can bring shotgun and you can shoot and nobody take notice.
It really was too quiet in Valletta, so I went back to Gaza,
Excuse me.
minus my bike.
Do you know when the next bus to Nador is?
There is no bus to Nador.
Oh.
So I took the only bus a little way and decided to hitchhike the rest. I didn't have to wait long for a ride.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Recognize me
Oh yeah, you're the tour guide from
the temple.
Hey, a stroke of luck. David dropped me off at the beach, and I took up a strategic position on the rocks. In the past 5,000 years, just about everything in Malta has changed. The language, the religion, the government, everything except the rocks, the sand, and the sea. Now those are things worth fighting for. But in Malta today, there's no need for violence. There's room on this beach for everyone.
New York Times jiena Matteo Gross illi kitib li jivjaġġa irħis.